We're out here with Beer Culture, and we're hanging out in Thousand Trails RV Park. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful, with the Roaming Pint. And it's Brian and Maria,
Yep.
right?
Correct.
Yep.
And found you guys by accident. I was on the little social networking site Untapped. And I was checking in on my beers, being a good beer geek like I am. And saw you guys had checked in at my local little brewery over here, Looking to Brewing. And started looking at your history a little bit, and was shocked to find something that is so beer culture, just sitting in my own backyard visiting my little states. Especially since you guys are all the way from Lawrence, Kansas.
That's
Lawrence,
right.
Kansas.
And I got all those facts right.
Rock shot.
Wow.
Did your
The
homework.
name rights, the home, yeah. You know what I mean? I feel so smart right now. Cut, episode good.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Nailed it. Perfect. And you guys
No,
have
I need
brought-
to drink first.
You know what? We totally need a beer. We totally need to share a beer. So
Cool.
you guys have brought out some of the beers from your travels.
Yep.
And I'm pretty excited about that because usually it's me and my co-host, and we're like pulling out out-of-state beers. We're pulling out hard to find beers. So we're going to restaurants and the dogs are taking the microphone. We'll edit that out. We're good.
He wants the camera time.
Yeah, he wants the camera time. We'll get him on camera later. So it's usually us trying to like either go to the place and see what beers they have, or we're bringing out-of-state beers. So it's so great to have somebody sharing with us stuff that we can't get here in our little desert.
For
And
sure.
you figured that out pretty quick, right? Where we
Yeah.
are in Coachella Valley, you get down in here and it's like a dry spell. You're like, there's really no good beer bottle stores. There's no good beer restaurants. It's just starting to come up. It's really just starting to get there.
You got 2 breweries now, so you're working on it.
We do, yeah. We got 2 of them out here pretty close to you on either side of you, and they're doing pretty good, you know, getting the beer out there. So let's talk about how you guys ended up in California for the 3rd time, right?
Yeah. Well, it's January, and I'm in a tank top, so
right.
the sun is shining, and there's palm trees and a hot tub right over there. So
Nice.
that's why we found ourselves to this area.
We
Now-
try to avoid the cold whenever possible.
Absolutely, and that's the beauty of it, right? You guys can just, in your travels, you've done that, right? Just stay ahead of the weather.
Yeah.
Stay
For
ahead
the
of
most
weather.
For the most part. There's been some times where it's caught up to us, but
Right.
yeah.
Very nice. And in your travels, you guys, looks like you sell some wares. You guys sell your own shirts. You make some books, right?
Yeah, make
Out of
some
six-packs?
notebooks out of all our used six
We're gonna have
packs.
to get that on camera while we're here today because I saw that. My wife is extremely crafty and she loves that kind of stuff.
Oh,
So
cool.
she's gonna have to see that.
Cool, for sure.
And then you work as a graphic designer,
Correct.
right? And you work on WordPress, is it?
Yeah, I work for a company called Woo Themes, so they make themes and an e-commerce plugin for
Okay.
WordPress sites.
But half that. You might have to explain
We'll
in
talk
detail.
later. You
Yeah,
need a
we'll talk
website,
later.
so I'll,
You know
I'll
what?
hook you
It
up.
is one of the things as we grow beer culture, we do need that. The pieces that we're still missing. So we might have to talk about that over here.
Cool.
We might have to drag Justin down here for a couple of pints when we guys leave town and talk about the possibilities
Nice.
of that.
Cool.
It'd be
Sounds
great
like a
to-
business
yeah.
expense.
It'd be great to have part of that, the pieces we need, handled by somebody that's truly embedded in the beer culture.
Yeah.
Rather than somebody that just wants to do it for the monetary piece, but somebody that wants to do it because they love beer and the craft beer movement and what it's doing.
Definitely.
Awesome.
I love
So-
that craft beer gave me my job,
Yeah.
especially because I set up the Roaming Pint. Is really how I got hired.
It's awesome. That is very cool.
Yeah.
Craft beer gave me my job. That should be a beer culture, a t-shirt, or a hat, or a
For the lucky ones that get to say it, yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do
that's
like
right.
that
yeah.
idea.
That's awesome. Very cool. So what are we going to try first, guys?
I think we're going to start with this Surge from St. Somewhere in Brewing. It's a black saison. St. Somewhere is in Florida. They specialize mostly in saisons and farmhouse ales and do a really good job of it.
Terrapin Springs, right? So just north of Tampa,
Okay.
Gulf side.
Let's go.
It's a cool little
I want it
tiny
open.
Yeah, no, it's ready to go.
tiny little Greek town.
Yeah.
It's got a odd sponge culture, so like they go out and get sponges and sell them in this tiny little town. It's
Like-
cool. No, it's pretty old. I mean, we would have gotten this over a year and a half ago.
That's the beauty of a saison. There's not too many beers that can age well. You know, again, my co-host Justin, he's a beer hoarder, man. He's got bottles on bottles. And we'll go through the IPAs and that stuff pretty fast.
Yeah, you don't necessarily want to
Yeah,
hold on to that too
We'll
long.
hold on to a stout. I held on to some Norwal from Sierra Nevada for 2 years because I just really felt it was just too heavy in the alcohol. And 2 years later, we just had them the other night, and they were amazing. It was so mellow and so drinkable today.
Yeah,
And I'm sure for you guys, you've seen it grow tremendously in the 3.5 years you've been on the road.
Yeah.
Right? The
Yeah.
distance from brewery to brewery is getting smaller and smaller, right?
Well, and it's nice because we can go back to cities and still visit new breweries.
Yeah, like when we left Fort Collins, we hit up the 9 breweries that were there, and within a couple weeks of leaving, they'd already opened up. If you ever get down to or get over to Florida, there's a lot of good small breweries right in that area. Dunedin Brewing is real close. Sun.
I bet you guys do that easily in your conversation without realizing it. If you ever get down over to that part of Texas, just check it out. Where the rest of us are like,
Well, you never know what people's travel plans are. Sometimes they have family in different parts of the country.
Unless we bring it to us the best we can. We find ways to bring the beer to the show and shoot the episodes. We've got a lot of out-of-state stuff. We really enjoy that. It's rare to find somebody like yourself that immerse yourself so much into your culture and does so much travel and found a way to make it work. You're able to make a living while you're doing it.
Yeah,
And keep it within a sensible living budget. I read it on your blog. That's super cool, man.
Yeah, and beer travel is just it's a really great way to see new cities and kind of figure out what's good to do in the town. Because a lot of times we'll roll into a city and not really know where we're going to stay or what we're going to do. So it makes it easy to just look up the local brewery and go there and talk to a bartender or someone else sitting at the bar. Be like, hey, what do people do here? What's interesting? What's the story behind this town? And we get a lot of good tips that way.
So how's your stay been right here in the valley so far?
So far, so good. I mean, the weather's been nice, and that's always the first thing.
This is our winter, so.
I think we had a period of like 10 or 12 days where we hit the hot tub every day or night. So whenever you can say that, that's always a good stay.
And you guys stayed up in Borrego Springs for a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How was the weather up there?
Yeah, we stayed there. It was just about the same as here. There was a bunch of RVers out there for New Year's celebration, and
Very cool.
it's always fun to boondock and kind of just be out in nature and have giant bonfires, and we all cook something and bring it for a potluck dinner, and
Very cool.
yeah, it's really nice. It's also really nice to be plugged in and have electricity.
You guys are actually living like two different lifestyles at the same time. Living the RV lifestyle and the craft beer lifestyle at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like the convergence of the two.
Yeah, I mean, how many craft beerers are you really, beer geeks or beer nerds you run into in this part?
Yeah,
I was surprised when you contacted us, to be honest. I was not expecting that from this area. Obviously, staying in a place like this,
Right.
and even this area, you see a largely older population
Absolutely.
who, probably don't venture out much or experiment.
But if you get people from Oregon or Washington, Colorado, I mean, they know good beer.
Yeah, all the way up to your grandma. Even your grandma knows good beer.
Yeah.
Everybody in the family knows good beer.
Yeah, this is like the one area of California that's up and coming and totally ready for some good beer. So, yeah.
Well, we noticed, with the beginning of the show, like we get traffic very quick. People pick it up very fast. It's been picked up in quite a few different states. People are watching it. It's got some feeding for it. We just gotta keep producing good content and get it out there.
That's right.
But we do like to use it as an educational tool. We go to get in the restaurant that opens up, and they got craft beer going, and we shoot. We try to cover that and get people going.
Where were we when we had an IPA roll?
Bend.
We were in Bend, Oregon, and there's a sushi place there that has an IPA roll on the menu.
Nice.
And I think it's in their like wasabi mayo sauce or something.
Yeah, they like marinated something in the IPA, and then I had a fresh squeeze from the shoots IPA with it. That was just
it was the first time we ever got a
Wow.
craft beer at a sushi place. That was awesome.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you gotta love
It's-
Bend
yeah.
for that kind of thing.
right.
Awesome. Well, it's all getting rid of that. That was having the best time on
Like you while you're looking at.
that. That's sweet. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you sharing the saison with me. I definitely will be searching out that brewery and getting Justin on top of that one. Try to find more black saisons from these guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is really good.
I agree with what you said. It's got almost a little sour to it, a little tart there. Really good. All right, so one of the first questions you asked me was to pick a beer, some of the beers you brought out, and my eye immediately caught the Red Rye Ale. I am a huge fan of rye. Anything that's single hops. I love, hops got a story to tell. People just need to let them tell it. It's too often people get lost and try to put too many kinds of hop in a beer. So single hop Red Rye Ale sounds extremely exciting. And Terrapin, they're out of Florida, right?
Georgia.
They're in
Georgia.
Athens.
Athens, Georgia.
Athens, Georgia.
Home of
Very
the
cool.
Bulldogs.
This is from their side project series. Now, do you guys remember picking that one up?
Yeah, we actually picked this up at a liquor store on the way out of town after we had already visited Terrapin Really cool brewery. Athens is a college town, so that right there is a feather in its cap.
Right.
They have a huge outdoor area where we went on a Friday for their open brewery, and they had music playing, samples going. I think they had probably 10 different beers on tap, a couple seasonals, and pretty much to a T, every beer I had I thoroughly enjoyed. A lot of places you'll go and find 1 or 2 out of 10 that you really like, but across the board they're all solid.
Nice. So it's one of the, when we talk about breweries, we really talk about how some breweries you really don't drink the core line at all. You look at their core beers and you're like, they're okay, but their special releases and the limiteds and the oaks or whatever. Like I don't drink a lot of Belgium, but the face series is ridiculous. Some of those are just beers you'd fight for if you had to. Like they're really amazing beers. And you look at like the Sheets Brewery, that whole core line is really, really good. And everything I've ever had from Terrapin has always been really good. I enjoyed it. Not that peanut butter, chocolate peanut butter, and the Hoppecutioner and
Wake and Bake?
No, never had that one. No.
That's a really good one. It's a oatmeal coffee stout.
You can always sell me once you say oatmeal.
Yeah, it's like dark and sticky and sweet coffee.
Once it says oatmeal on there, I'm drinking that beer and I'm going to figure out what else is in there.
That was actually the first craft beer that I really remember, enjoying, branching out. Our hometown brewery, Free State Brewing.
Yeah, you guys drink that on next Hop Thursday.
New Brew Thursday.
New Brew Thursday.
Yeah, definitely.
New Brew Thursday. I just watched the episode before I came over. It's a good shoot.
Yeah, that was I think when we were in California about 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's a young shoot. So you guys were still in what you were doing.
Yeah, we met up with Steven at Great Nebraska Beer Fest, and we just knew like when we were going to come through California, he was like, hit me up, we'll do something.
Nice. So we're hoping we're going to be able to stay in touch with you guys when we come back. We'll be able to.
For sure.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
We're going to keep on track, keep tracking you wherever you are on the road, and we'll post that out there on the page.
Awesome.
Maybe we'll do a little beer trading while you guys are on the road.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good. We always like getting new beers.
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
And that's why we love picking these up in places and taking them to other places where we know they don't get them.
Yeah.
And finding fellow beer geeks to share them with.
Maria on your guys' blog, I was reading the statement she had made on there. The post about storage. How you guys were trying to create more storage space in the RV.
Yeah.
We're going to get rid of the generator. That's beer storage. That's what's going down. So we're going to have to help find you guys a bigger for that. But there's a statement you made in there which is awesome to me. She was just like, and sometimes we get beer, we just want to drink it, but we're like, no, let's save that for a real geek. Yes, man, it's so awesome. That's so true.
Yeah, well, that's how the storage ends up getting too full because you plan on meeting up with someone and then it doesn't go through, or you can't bring the beer. You meet up at a beer bar. Yeah. So we end up with all these beers, and it's like sometimes we'll just be having dinner, like, hey, you want a beer? Like, well, not that one.
We gotta
or
save
that one
that
or that
one.
one. Yeah. So then you end up with your Firestone Walker Pale or just a standard beer. Yeah, exactly.
There's some big bottle Firestones, man. The Wookiees, like.
Oh, it's like my top 5.
That's our favorite
Serious,
thing.
right?
I love
Absolutely.
it.
In the top, all the way in the top of the Wookiee, and that rye.
Oh yeah, that's delicious. It's one of our favorites.
And it's always sad when you pull a beer out because you got somebody that's kind of new and I want to check it out. Give them a great beer and they don't get it. And you can see in their face they don't get it. You're like, give me that beer. I should have shared that beer with you.
This is nice though. The malt is really nice balance. I mean, it's got like a nice caramel sweetness in the front, and then the hops kind of take over. But then at the end, it has just a nice smooth coat to your mouth. It just tastes good. Yeah.
And this is probably about a year old too, so I wonder how balanced it would have been, if we opened it up initially.
Yeah, probably a lot more front aroma.
Yeah, because this is really nice and smooth.
We talked about that in designing the recipe, but we really wanted to have a good malt body. We wanted a darker color.
Yeah.
I want Morris Otter, because I think Morris Otter brings more of a biscuit dryness for an IPA. Whereas like traditional two-row, you always have to go in and start adding, crystal malts or different types of malts to get more of a body feel in there. With two-row is your base sugar, then they start using all the crystals, whatever, to add more body and consistency. Like New Belgium uses those tasty crystals, which sweetens the beer up a lot. We don't want to do that. We want it to be more dry, crisp, bitter.
Yeah. There's you can definitely see like a faction of brewers that like don't really care about style, and they just try to make things
Yeah,
that are
the
interesting
brewery.
and they like. And then there's another where it's like they're looking up the BJCP styles to make
Trying to
sure
stay
they're
in
on
there.
par.
Yeah, sure.
But I think you need a healthy dose of each.
Which is-
Experiment a little, but then also stay true to form.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the breweries that really comes to mind for me with that is the brewery. The brewery is just, everything is eclectic. Everything is way out there. Everything's awesome. Like the guy's nailed it. He's really nailed his little niche, and he's got a following. You're not going to see that in the six-pack anytime soon.
No.
What's
And
the
then-
brewery in Wisconsin that doesn't really like to put a style on their beer? Instead, they just have descriptive words. Oso Brewing. They're really big on that.
Yeah, you look all over their packaging
Write
for
that
a,
down.
Yeah.
Also brewing.
you look all over their packaging for a style, and you won't get anything. It'll just have descriptive words, like citrusy, grapefruit.
Then they kind of run into trouble when they try to submit it for competitions because
Absolutely.
it
They
doesn't
don't even
necessarily
know.
fall explicit to a style. So it's still a good brewery.
Very solid.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Wisconsin's a great beer trip. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
That's one of the things we hope to do with this show is to grow to that point where we have the monetary support to get out and do, get out and travel, shoot other places. We want to do a lot with home brewers. We want to do a lot with hop farms. We want to do a lot with farm to table. We want to do a lot with sustainability. Really look at more sustainability. Where does that grain go?
Hop Farms is the one thing we really haven't toured yet that I've kind of always wanted
Yeah.
to do. We're never really in the area at the right time for harvest, but
Yeah, you got to get it. in
Yeah,
that
the only
window.
time we were in Oregon, Washington area when we first hit the road, kind of during the hop harvest.
That was
we
already
had just
done then.
we had just missed a
I'm a
couple.
hop head. If I was in a hop farm nose around, I'd run naked to a hop farm. That smell, that aroma, dude, I couldn't stand it. I'd just be like, I gotta run and follow for a
Oh
minute.
man, I love being on the West Coast during fresh hop season.
Yeah.
Because everyone has a beer where they just
Absolutely,
went to
yes.
the farm, picked a bunch of hops, and threw it in the
Yeah.
kettle.
And we just had a couple that were pretty amazing. Sierra Nevada just did Celebration, which
Love
was really good this year, but it wasn't as IPA as it was last year. It was really mellowed down a little bit this year. It was way more malty this year.
Yeah.
But we always kind of started that way. We show we always drink all the Sierra Nevada releases because that was my start beer, so I'm still kind of loving
Yeah, I love the northern and southern hemispheres that they put
Yeah,
out. Those
awesome,
are really
right?
good.
Ruthless just came out, Ruthless Rye. Very good this year. Nice and choppy. I like it. Good beer.
this
So
one's nice. I like
What's the logo on the side of the Stanley? It's a logo on Stanley over there.
It's just it's a bodhisattva holding two lotus flowers and playing the turntables.
Yeah,
So back in Lawrence, I used to be a DJ. I don't necessarily spin, but
Yeah.
it
Keeps
really
the party going.
really spoke to me, and it kind yeah, the decals already. So
Yeah, we had that space with nothing in it.
We
Figured
dig it.
might
We're
as
gonna
well.
get a picture of it for the beginning of the shoot.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool. I saw it on the site and I was like, that's
It's funny when we're at RV parks, the elderly know it's a deity, but they don't. Like one old woman came up to me and said, "Is that Mary?" And we drive through college towns, and kids are like, "Yeah, that's cool." And then
Or we'll be parked on a street and you just see people walking by, not even thinking anyone's in there, and they'll just stop and look and
Yeah.
talking to their friends.
nice.
Oh, you see that? That's pretty cool.
So how is the RV held up? 3.5 years traveling, had 40,000 miles on it when you got it.
yep,
I got that fact right too.
Yeah,
Damn.
we're about 80.
we're at about 85, 86,000 now. Which
Double your
over,
mileage.
yeah, which over 3.5 years is not really that big a deal. But yeah, Stanley's been a trooper. Other than some basic wear and tear, there's always constant little maintenance, like
Yeah,
something falls down or a screw falls
Well, when your
out.
house is constantly going through an
Constant
earthquake,
motion. Yeah, constant motion,
you
yeah.
can only imagine the toll it takes.
Yeah,
But
you've had to be innovative about where you put everything, how you keep everything, what you own and what you don't own.
Yeah.
Probably really simplified your life. You said it in your blog, like, you own less and less stuff, so there's more room for beer. I was like, that's awesome. I'm totally down with that. I totally get it. And our tech guy, Jason, has always wanted to live in a small home on wheels, so he's super excited to tour your RV and
Awesome.
see the renovations you guys have done.
it's a great 30-second tour.
Yeah.
But for you, we'll give you the minute tour.
1 minute tour, sir. 1 minute is all you get. It's all you need.
Yeah, it's nice. We've been really lucky mechanically. It's been sound,
Nice.
knock on wood, and we're not very good at mechanic thing, so if anything was to go wrong, it will probably be expensive. But at this point, we more than got our $10,000 worth on the investment
Absolutely.
of this home, and
Oh yeah.
I couldn't be more happy with the path that we chose. So.
Yeah, and for it being our first RV, not exactly knowing what we're gonna need size-wise, living-wise,
Yeah, that's
it
true.
turned out to be the perfect size for us. Exactly what we needed.
Very cool.
Took out the bed in the back, kind of made it into an office, so we got a lot of space. The dogs can move about freely. So yeah, it worked out really well.
All right, so we're back here in beer culture. We're going to go into another beer with you guys. And we brought out some of the stuff that you do, Brian. This is one of the things you make, right?
Yep. You know, we end up with a lot of six-packs during our
Right.
travels.
Left over.
So, you know, I love notebooks. Like, I always carry one with me in my pocket. And I figured, you know, might as well upcycle them and kind of take what value is already inherent in craft beer and brands people like and make it into something useful.
That's awesome. Reuse, recycle, repurpose.
He also likes to collect things, and this
This
just so
is true.
happens to be a flat pack, so that's nice. It doesn't take up a lot of space. Well, I mean, it does eventually
Yeah.
add up, but
Yeah.
of all the things that he could collect, this
We have a
works out quite
rather
well.
large sticker collection from breweries too, which
Nice.
is also easy to manage. We just have this huge box full of brewery
Yeah.
stickers and stuff.
Yeah, you sell these on your website, right?
Mhm.
What do they go for?
It's $12 for a 3-pack,
Very cool.
And it comes with a sticker.
3 stickers, right?
which, you know, everyone loves.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Stick it
That's,
on your
that's your guys'
kegerator.
little logo, right?
Yep.
Some people say,
Really
"Oh,
fun.
I'm going to stick this on my car," and that's great, but I don't promote that just in case they were to get pulled over and have a beer sticker on their car. I don't want
Right?
our sticker to be the reason that they get a breathalyzer or something. So
One of the things we use on the web shows, we're promoted by a cab company. So we do shoots, restaurants, bars, wherever, we get brought in by a cab, we take it out by a cab. We're always trying to promote that, drink responsibly.
For sure.
just put it on the cab then, and you're good to
I'll
go.
do that next time, and we'll see how long it takes me to find it. Because I don't think cab guys really pay attention to that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, no, that's why the RV works out really well. You know, if
That's right.
you have a few too many, just go to
You're
bed.
home. That's it. You're like, you drive home, sir. I just did.
I'm not going anywhere.
I'm
obviously.
Still trying to figure out how to get that logo on our roof so when Google Earth shoots us, then they
Nice.
actually pick it up.
Nice.
But RVs commonly have a canvas roof, which kind of dusts off, so I'm not really sure what we could do to paint it on. But we got to figure that out, because that would be just flawless.
That would be awesome. Get yourself on Google Earth.
Exactly.
Sweet.
The problem would be knowing when they actually flew over without canvassing the whole U.S. all the time.
Someone will find it one day and
Yeah.
send it.
Yeah,
As
that's
much as you
true.
guys are out there, as much as you've done in 3.5 years, I think if you contacted Google Earth, they'd be all about it. They would be down to make it happen.
Yeah,
so
for
have
sure.
your moment. It would have to be in front of a really cool brewery, so the brewery can promote it. And then
Yeah,
just go
that'd be
viral.
really cool.
Exactly.
It'll go viral all on its own after that.
It's a great idea.
Awesome. All right, so we're gonna move into Sexy Betty.
This
all
is,
about that beer.
this is a Russian Imperial Stout from Nebraska Brewing Company.
Okay.
Good friends of ours in was it La Vista?
Papillion.
Papillion, Nebraska, just outside Omaha. And this is a variant of Black Betty, which this is aged in cognac barrels.
Nice.
So they have very good, solid flagship brews, but they also do a lot of creative lines of beers. And this is definitely one of them. So I have not had this yet, but I am a big Imperial Stout fan lately, so I'm
Me
excited to
too.
check it out.
I'm not a huge Imperial Stout fan, nor am I necessarily a fan of a barrel-aged beer when it gets overly boozy.
Right.
But there
I
are
agree.
plenty of beers that have a good balance that I can tolerate, and I'm guessing that I will more than tolerate this beer. I think I'm going to heavily enjoy it.
I think you will.
Oh yeah, that's not boozy at all. No, that's good. That's
That's good. And
Shell,
I mean, this was
you
back
get
in
over here?
2012, so, it might have mellowed out over time as well.
I mentioned that earlier in the. Oh wow, that is just it stopped me mid conversation. Some beer like stopped my sentence. I have to stop and sip that again.
I love when it smells dark.
Oh man, Ooh, I love a good stout. That is just
Mwah. That is
right.
nice.
That is nice. Nice choice, young man. Very good.
Yeah, and Nebraska is another one of those breweries that like everything I have, I just seem to like thoroughly
Yeah.
enjoy. They got a very solid head brewer ownership there who are all about the quality.
Sam's okay.
Make sure you got that.
Cognac barrel, like that comes through. Shockingly, it really does.
Yeah, but it's not hit you in the
No.
face.
No,
But
it's
yeah,
nice.
there's
It
a
gives
nice
it a nice
subtleness.
sweetness to it.
I love a good stout.
Yeah,
Nebraska Brewery is going through quite a bit of expansion right now. They just
Mhm.
recently expanded to a production facility that will allow them to can.
Nice.
So I was born in Omaha, so
Mhm.
this brewery is close to my heart because I would say, within the last 5 to 10 years, well, maybe not even 10, but finally there are breweries opening up, and this is just a solid example. And to have the title Nebraska Brewing Company on this brewery that puts out such stellar beers gives me a little bit of home pride.
Yeah, and they actually, for being at the time, not necessarily nationally known name, they ship a lot to the East Coast. They have a lot of East Coast accounts. I remember finding it in North Carolina when we were there at liquor stores and stuff. And, you just think about a brewery from Nebraska, you're not expecting them to be all over the place, but their beers speak for themselves and people want it, so they ship it out.
Very cool. There's a few breweries we've talked about on the show that are starting to expand the same way the big guys did back in the day. They're starting to build second breweries. I believe Oscar Blues is in the midst of building a second brewery. I know Fat Tire, New Belgium Brewing Company, has built a second brewery. Sierra Nevada, a couple of them are in North Carolina.
Yeah, all of
Two or
those
three
are
North Carolina.
kind of in the Asheville area. Lagunitas is opening up a new facility in
Love
Chicago.
Lagunitas.
Oh,
I love Lagunitas. It's like probably me and the wife's favorite brewery, I think.
Have you been?
No.
That's why
makes
it's one of
so
our
much
favorite.
better once you
Yeah.
go. I mean, they got like 30 beers on tap.
Yeah, right?
And
huge beer garden.
the culture there is just phenomenal. It's just a fun hangout.
And
You
it's a
go there
great
for a
story.
Saturday, you're gonna have an excellent day.
They have a great backstory.
They
I think
do.
Oscar Blues has a really great backstory. Some of the beers they've produced, the root beer they sell that has a monetary gain for a widow and the sons of somebody who passed away, and then Good Night, which is named after a Vietnam vet and a brewer that passed away. Was a friend of the guy. Like they've done great things. And it's always great when you see a brewery do something that's just like impactful like that. Sierra Nevada, Green's Brewery in the United States, do phenomenal things.
They have so many solar panels.
We have
So
solar
many
envy
solar
when we go.
Yeah, solar.
Yeah,
oh
it's
my
like
God.
their roof is just covered. Their parking lot
It's
is
their
covered.
composter. Like I've seen their composter.
Oh yeah, there's
In
like
the video.
3 of them.
Yeah, and how that just everything that comes out of that restaurant or out of the brewery just goes through there, it goes back into the ground, and helps, or goes to the farm and
not
feeds.
only that, but the composter generates heat. So they're using that heat to help heat the kettles.
Wow,
I mean, it's just all.
it's like Lion King cycle of life. It's like
Oh
amazing.
yeah, no, they've
I love that, dude.
and they're always kind of trying to think of like, well, is there any way we can reuse this for something or cut down on this by adding another piece of
You guys, I
equipment or
don't know if you
something?
see the articles I post, but I posted an article about the new Trappist Brewery.
Yeah, I read that this
It's
morning.
in Massachusetts, I think it is, or one of those things. But I mean, they're literally, they got Pretty Things. The two brewers, the wife and husband,
Yep.
for Pretty Things.
Yeah.
Worked with them for a
Podcasts.
year to help them develop the recipes. They got confirmed that their one recipe is a Trappist ale, and like they have this huge brewery that can brew. I gotta go buy it. 30 bikers interrupting my shoot.
That guy.
But they have, if you read the article, that brewery is like massively underutilized. Like they're brewing like 4 times a month. Literally. Everybody else is brewing like 4 times a day.
Yeah,
Trying to keep up with demand and trying to exceed expectation. But we'll see what they produce.
Yeah, I
It's
mean
gonna
they
be
don't
phenomenal.
necessarily need to.
No.
It's another revenue stream, but nothing where they're necessarily trying to make more than they need to.
But that's like early beer culture. I mean, you think about the early stouts. Stouts were basically sustenance for during fasting for months.
Yep.
It was liquid bread. And I love that. I love the concept of good bread and good beer. That's all you really need. Everything else we'll figure out down the road.
Coming back to stouts, my mouth tastes incredible right now. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, wow.
pretty-
Oh man, I'm glad we saved this for last because it's definitely one where I just like to sip on it, like slowly, take a
And
mouthful, let it sit. And then,
so drinkable for 10%. And we talk about that sometimes on the show too. Like some beers are just dangerous. Like they don't come across.
This is 10%.
Yeah.
10%, right?
Doesn't come through at all.
No, like that's dangerous. Like you can just hand that to somebody that doesn't know beer and be like, try this, bro. You guys check this beer out. You know,
Right?
a few minutes later, they're ready to go to bed. They're done. Yeah, they
Hope
couldn't take that.
Start doing this beer kind of again.
Yeah.
Well, I know Black Betty, they always do. I actually looked up the profile on this on Beer Advocate and said no longer in production. But that doesn't mean
Tyson.
that they won't do it again.
So, you're a fan of Beer Advocate, Rate Beer?
No. I mean, I'm not
I was
against.
hoping you would say yes on camera.
I'm not. Sorry, I'm not against them.
My co-host is not a fan, but I am a total fan. I feel that for common consumers, I think it's a great tool.
We use it. I mean,
Yeah,
don't get
I
us
use it.
wrong. We definitely look at Beer Advocate when we want to know something in the area. I'd say more than not, we use brewery maps to try and find breweries close to us, but we're not necessarily in the business of rating beer. It's not really what we're about.
Reviewing beers.
We're more
Yeah,
about
neither.
experiencing a brewery and meeting the locals. So for us, like, I'm not going to go and trash a beer or
Right.
rate a beer. I don't leave reviews on Yelp or any of that
Yeah.
kind of thing just because plenty of people have an opinion and I don't really think anyone cares about mine.
Yeah. So when I do reference Rate Beer or Beer Advocate, it's for something like this where I want to look up some specifics or some background on it, see how other people describe it. But yeah, I don't think I have an account per se where I can even go
Yeah, I don't
in.
either. I think what I do is
It's more a reference tool.
like when somebody wants to beer trade with us, and somebody says, "Okay, we want to send you beer," I'm like, "Cool." You know, it's kind of scary when you think of somebody you don't know what their craft beer knowledge is. And you're just going to run around and go shop and buy the beers that they love and ship it to you in a box, and you're going to sit on the show and you're going to drink them and talk about them. So I always give them that line, like, look, go to Rate Beer, just type in the name of the beer in your phone, let it come up. Rate Beer and Beer Advocate will be in the first 5 or 6. And if it's scoring 85 or higher, then pick it. But if it's not, don't. And that's where I utilize that tool.
Yeah.
Because I hate for somebody to send me a beer and then I'm not going to lie. When I go on camera, I'm not going to lie about it. I'll be like, this one's not so good. Thank you for shipping it,
Not so
but
much.
not so great. Let's skip to the next beer. You know? Or I'll shoot the episode with the beers that are good. I'll cut out the footage that's not.
Right.
And then I'll email them and tell them straight, like, hey, 2 out of 5 were phenomenal, but the other 3, not so much. Sorry. Straight out. I'll be honest. I'm not going to lie to anybody or pull any punches. I'm not here to rate beers or review them either. I don't do that. We like ours to be conversation, just like this on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best part about it is, meeting up with someone else who likes beer, but you're not talking about the beer the whole time. You're just having a conversation on,
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
maybe your local brewery or, events you've been to or even just, what's going on. So yeah, it's more the conversation and definitely the people that we meet, as we travel that makes it, the great experience that it is.
We use beer geeks as an endearing term, but some people take it too seriously.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely.
We recently did an interview with the Beer Peddler, which is Tony out of Texas, and he started Shotgun Friday, and I just love the idea behind it because you never really think about people shotgunning a craft beer, right?
Right.
You think that
No, you don't.
But reason why he kind of started it is because people take themselves too seriously sometimes in craft beer, and you kind of got to let go and have fun with it. And I really like that he brought that up in the interview because I thought it was a great point. Some people just take it too seriously.
Yeah, they'll look at you. You shotgun a craft beer.
Yeah, what do you do?
Like we would kill for that where we live.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
it's a can.
Still though,
you know?
and he shotguns those tall boys. I don't even know how he does it.
Yeah,
How do
no,
you
he
do
actually
that?
did
7% shotgun
two
or
tall
what?
grass beers.
Yeah, didn't he do
yesterday,
Buffalo
which are-
Stout?
Yeah, which are 16
Oh my
ounces
God.
and usually upwards of 6%.
He's got a serious system to be able to pull that kind of beer down. that
Yeah.
fast.
Well, they always show stills of them doing it and the cans after. They never really show an actual how long it
I wanna see it
takes.
in
It was
action.
blasted.
You want to see it in action on YouTube, please?
Well, we're going to be down in the Austin area, so I'm pretty sure we'll do one and
Yeah.
see kind of
We
what their
definitely will
process
have to
is.
meet up with him.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you. I mean, that's kind of the direction we want the show to go, where it's really just about the dialogue. I mean, you guys are living phenomenal beer culture, and that's why we wanted to catch up with you while you were out here in our part of California.
appreciate that, by the way.
Yeah,
it's always
absolutely.
good to-
No, it's you guys are living the dream. You're living the RV dream that my son has, and you're living the craft beer dream that I have. One nutshell, the two of us are seriously envious. So, you're hoarding beer and sharing beer all at the same time, and that's phenomenal because there's so many beers out there, and you guys can't travel fast enough to keep up with it.
Yeah,
You
it's
just
Oh, no,
can't.
yeah.
It's happening so fast, and that's a beautiful thing. As the big guys keep trying to figure out ways to make skinny girls in swimsuits sell beer, everybody else is just trying to let beer speak for itself.
Yeah.
And the beer's doing it.
I mean, to be honest, the longer we travel, the smaller percentage of breweries we have visited, is going on because they're expanding more than we can visit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's been about at least 1,000 new breweries that opened since we hit the road 3 years ago.
That's crazy. So what's next for you guys? Is there a book coming out? Is there a movie? Is there a short film?
Next is Phoenix. I mean, I can't really think
Yeah.
further than next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, the longer we've been on the road, the more we've learned long-term planning is it's a headache. It's frustrating, and you'll usually end up missing out on something great because you already had planned to be somewhere else.
Nice.
So that said, we're going to be in Austin for 2 months.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I'm all right with being in
Yeah.
Austin for 2 months. I can't wait, actually, but we will have to kind of speed through Arizona and New Mexico, which we've spent quite a bit of time in before. Every time we go through New Mexico, we go south because it's winter, so we don't actually make it through Albuquerque, Santa Fe area,
Yeah.
which I really would like to visit. But then after that, it's a little unclear. We'll be back in Kansas in May, and then most likely loop back west. I'm a huge fan of the West Coast. I can't
Sweet.
West
seem
Coast is
to
West
get
Coast.
enough, so...
Yeah, and our time got cut short in Washington and Oregon this year. That was our whole plan, was to get back up to the Northwest, and then we got up there, and she ended up having a lot of business travel during that time, so she missed out on it, and then the weather got cold. And so we're still trying to get back up there and spend some more time in the Pacific.
I think you're working on a book, are you? Is that true?
I'm working on a book.
I knew there was a book in there maybe. Somewhere.
Yeah, well, ever since we hit the road, people were like, you should write a book about it.
You have to write about this.
So I was like, and for the longest time, I was like, yeah, that's great. If we can find a ghostwriter, I'll tell him all my
You have
stories.
2 books. You got to write the book about the RV life, and you got to write the book about the craft beer life. Because you live in 2 lives. My friend.
Yeah,
You're
well,
living in 2 separate cultures.
we like the convergence between the craft beer and travel life that we call beer travel.
Nice.
So that's what the book is all about. It's kind of about how breaking out of your routine and going to try something new, finding a new place,
Yeah.
seeking out local craft beer when you travel. You don't necessarily need to schedule a trip to spend a week in Asheville, but if you find yourself on a vacation in Florida, go find a local brewery because they're popping up
Absolutely.
everywhere.
Or
that's
at
kind
least
of
a
what
local
it's about.
bottle store,
Yeah, or beer
I had
bar.
to go to St. Louis for the company I worked for. I had to go to St. Louis, and I was there for 1 day. So boom, my first meeting was out of the way. I just got on my phone, boom, local bottle store, bam,
Yeah.
walked in, and I was like, oh, I'm like calling her like, I can spend $1,000 right now, right? I can ship it all to you. It's for the show, like just founders
Business
and-
expense.
It's founders and 3 Floyds, just a wall of it, and I'm like, oh my god, So I
Nah.
love that. I love walking into a different town, a different city, and just finding unusual beers. But I love
Yeah.
finding somebody like you in my backyard. That's phenomenal for me to have these beers today. I
Cheers.
super appreciate it. You guys sharing them with me. Well, it's been great to have you guys on the Beer Culture Web Show.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
appreciate
Thanks
the
for having
gifts.
us.
By all means, we're going to keep reposting wherever you guys are at, where you're at, and where your travels are, where they take you to.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that you guys do this show and that you're,
we're trying.
wanting to spread the word about beer culture. I mean, it's the best people you'll ever meet, so
Absolutely.
it really couldn't have been a better decision.
that's one of the reasons we love craft beer is because it's not about big marketing budgets. It's about grassroots people who love beer. They just want to share it with other people.
Internet's a powerful tool, so you never know how long what's going to take to get underneath.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, brought us together. That's what I love about social media is just being out there. People find you, and you find unique people in an area that you didn't plan on that, but then you're like, hey, we're in the same area. We should meet up, have some beers.
Well, again, we're going to follow you guys. We're going to post it, and we're going to keep an eye on you and see where your travels take you.
Appreciate it.
When
Awesome.
the book comes out, we'll fly out to the book signing. Sweet. Thanks for being on the Beer Culture Web Show.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.